We've all seen the film, the grainy footage, the infamous walk. But the question isn't if the creature in the Patterson-Gimlin film is real. The question is, what if the world's most famous legend is simply a distraction from the world's most terrifying reality? Tonight, we dive deep into the Bigfoot paradox. We analyze the ironclad evidence. Then, we analyze what happens when the evidence fails to explain the horror. Prepare yourself. Welcome to Scary Legends and Cryptid Encounters. The North American Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, is an apex cryptid. Unlike the Yeti, Sasquatch is a monster of the backyard forest. Stories predate European colonization by centuries, rooted in indigenous legends of powerful solitary forest beings. But it was not until the 1950s, with a series of massive footprint discoveries in Northern California, that the name Bigfoot was born. Our journey begins with the simplest, yet most disturbing fact: size. What would it take for a massive bipedal ape to evade the 21st century? The answer is more terrifying than you think. The footprints are the foundation of the legend. These weren't mere bear tracks. They showcased a mid-tarsal break, a flexibility in the foot arch not seen in humans, but present in larger primates. We have casts, hundreds of them, meticulously documented. If science dismisses them as a hoax, they must explain how a hoaxer in the 1950s, decades before detailed anatomical studies, was able to replicate such a sophisticated biological feature. Anatomy suggests authenticity. And then came 1967, Bluff Creek, California. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin claimed to have captured the impossible: a female Sasquatch. The Patterson-Gimlin film, 59 seconds of grainy, shaky footage, became the Rosetta Stone of cryptozoology. We must analyze this evidence not with emotion, but with cold, hard logic. Experts have studied the gait, the muscle movement, the proportion. The overwhelming conclusion from many is that a 1960s suit would not allow for that level of biological realism. Look closely at the infamous frame 352. The creature, affectionately nicknamed Patty, exhibits gluteal muscles and dynamic tension that defies the rigid suits of the era. The way the light catches the fur, the subtle breast structure. If this is a man in a costume, he is wearing a costume designed by a future master anatomist. This is our high watermark for physical evidence. Yet we must turn to the skeptics, because for every point of evidence, there is a counterpoint designed to destroy the legend. The strongest argument against the film is simple: the lack of a body. The global scientific community demands a type specimen. Until a corpse is found, Bigfoot remains a footnote. And what about Bob Hieronymus, the man who claimed in the 90s he was hired to wear a gorilla suit for the film? Hieronymus's story has inconsistencies, yes, but it provides the skeptics with the necessary doubt. Doubt is the killer of all cryptids. The sheer scale of the North American wilderness is the best defense for the creature's existence. Millions of acres of untouched forest in the Pacific Northwest alone. But even here, analysis fails. A breeding population of a few hundred animals would need an enormous food source, and they would need to leave behind unmistakable trace evidence on a regular basis. The silence of the forest is both the best and the worst evidence. As for the footprints and the film, The modern skeptic argues simply that the human eye is easily fooled, especially when the subject is expected. Psychological priming, a desire to believe, it all plays a part. The analytical mind is a powerful defense against the terrifying unknown. But what if the creature deliberately defies the laws of physics and biology? We now enter the deep woods of the terrifying unknown. This is where the simple narrative of a giant ape collapses. Numerous reports from the most remote areas speak not of a shy animal, but of a hostile, pre-paranormal entity. This shift occurs when the creature exhibits traits that no known primates possess. One of the most chilling phenomena is infrasound, low-frequency vocalizations below the threshold of human hearing, used by large animals like elephants. But in the Bigfoot accounts, this is often reported as causing sudden, overwhelming panic, nausea, and an immediate urge to flee. It is a weaponized form of sound. It paralyzes the human mind before the human body can react. The Sierra Sounds recordings, captured in the 70s, contain complex vocalizations that have been analyzed by linguists. They are not animal noises. They are complex, with pitch variations and structured communication. If the evidence for an animal is lacking, perhaps we are looking at something semi-sentient, something closer to a demonic entity than a primate. The most unsettling connection is the one between Bigfoot and the missing 411 phenomenon. Cases of people vanishing without a trace from national parks. Too many witnesses report the same sequence of events. A sudden, overwhelming silence, a terrible smell, and the feeling of being watched. Are these simply tragic accidents? Or are we dealing with a hyper-intelligent predator that hunts on a completely different level? The most frightening reports speak of creatures that teleport or vanish. A witness turns their head for a second, and the massive figure is simply gone, leaving no trace. This suggests a capability that destroys the biological hypothesis entirely. If it can manipulate its environment or its perception, it is no longer an ape. It is a legend made real through an occult mechanism. Consider the psychological warfare, the rock throwing, the territorial calls that sound like a woman screaming. These are calculated moves designed to drive humans away, not the instinctive fear of a shy animal. The Bigfoot in these deep woods is not hiding. It is asserting dominance. So, where does this leave us? The physical evidence, the footprints and the film, are just strong enough to defy a definitive debunking. But the experiential evidence, the infrasound, the vanishing, targeted psychological terror, demands a re-evaluation of the entire cryptid class. Perhaps Bigfoot is not one creature, but two. A shy, elusive North American ape, and a far more sinister, paranormal entity that utilizes the myth as camouflage. It's a legend that protects a monster. We may never find the body of the Sasquatch, but every time we step into the silent woods, we feel the oppressive weight of being watched. The critical question remains: what if the legend is real and the truth is something far, far worse than a simple hairy ape? Which encounter terrified you more? The logical evidence of Patty, or the psychological warfare of the infrasound and vanishing? Let Mr. Robben know in the comments below.